Weak Daddy. That's who we're about to see. Luminosity Gaming will take on Counterlogic Gaming, as we just saw. And LG has been all about Weekend. Him and his supporting staff have been very, very strong and a pleasure to watch this season.
They really have been, but at the same time, CLG has looked like one of the best teams in the world so far in North America. The only team with a clean 0 in the loss record, but they've got a back-to-back here today that's going to be difficult to keep that clean.
Right, LG coming up now, and a little bit later we'll watch CLG take on E-United, who definitely stepped up. If you're just joining us, E-United took on Splice just now and did win. Took 3 games, but they did find the win, looking a lot cleaner than they have in Week 2 and Week 1.
And that's exactly what they needed to try and fight up against CLG. But if CLG can win this set and then get on a roll, gain some momentum, because they're going to need some in order to meet the momentum that I think E-United just gained by beating Splice.
Important game here for Luminosity as well. Should they find the victory, that'll pretty much put them in that second place spot or that third place spot, because of the fact that everybody will wind up with the wins. That'll put Counterlogic Gaming down a peg, but CLG and Space Station seem to be the upper echelon right here. And like I said, this is a litmus test. Luminosity has looked really clean. They've been a lot of fun to watch. They're very entertaining. All that stuff is very true. But can they beat and join the best of the best in North America? That's the question that we're going to be able to answer after this match.
And E-United kind of thought of as one of the cream of the crops in North America, but hasn't looked like it for the majority of the season so far. Today was really the first time we got to see a full E-United performance stay consistent throughout an entire set. Now, Luminosity beat them, but can Luminosity beat another class act in North America? You know, beating Trifecta, beating Splice, things like that are impressive because those are really, really good teams, but they aren't the teams that have proven that they can go to Worlds and perform, you know? So CLG is a team that has multiple players who have gone to the world stage, haven't won a whole lot there, but still have at least been there. And I want to see Luminosity beat them before I'm ready to sign off on the LG hype train.
You're talking about the past, and I'm looking at the present right now, and it's all been about Homiefe, both in the past and the present. The recent past, I think Season 4, Homiefe wasn't what he needed to be for a number of reasons. But Season 5, this is the jungler world. He's playing his traditional picks, and he's also bringing out the jank, which has been successful in 5. The Vamata jungle carried them through last week, and I expect Homiefe to not stop. This guy has been really fun for me to watch from the time he joined the league, and I think Season 5, Ryan, this might be the best he's ever looked.
And it's so important to me that this meta, he's really designed his play around it. Like you said, he's willing to play the weird stuff, he's willing to play the traditional stuff, and he's just beating people up regardless of what he's playing, and that's what's impressive to me. As you mentioned, Season 4, definitely not Homie's best year, but that was such a vastly different play style for junglers, and I think there's some merit. I mean, look, we put a lot of pressure on a lot of these players to be good in every single meta, no matter what. They've got to be on top of their game, whether they're playing the same picks they like to play or something different. And I don't think that's always realistic. And in this exact situation, I think that Homie just vibes perfectly with Season 5. Season 4 wasn't his stuff, and that's okay. You can just move forward and perform here next year. Also
a great team surrounding him. He's got his friends in Hurriwind and Jigz, but perhaps more importantly, they're friend-like colleagues. And you know, I think when you watch us cast, you know, there's something to be said that we're all friends. We all go out after the games and everything, and that's what this CLG team has brought. They've brought the camaraderie that you need, as well as the competition to find the wins. We'll see if they can do this here against LG. Picks and bans for game number 1. Actually, excuse me, Fluffy Bunny asked for it. P's and B's, pretty please. It's been a while since I said that one.
Has it really? I feel like you say that every time.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah?
I like the P's and B's, pretty please.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I already said I liked it. You don't have to ask me again.
Nobody likes Arachne. CLG gonna ban that one out.
First
nice and
ban
easy.
Arachne.
Listen, the way Weekend has played the Spooter,
Woo.
the Elo Spooter, out of control here.
What do you think the Vegas odds were for Arachne being first ban in the SPL?
How many gods are there?
What, 94? Either 93 or 94, I think.
Multiply that by itself, and you're nowhere close.
Yeah, exactly. it's just insane. That's a testament, as you mentioned, to how well Weekend has played this god. And you know, first pick, you get that throwaway ban. You're not too worried about it. But I love that it's just right into picks and bans. Okay, Arachne. You don't get to play that. And I'm sure Weekend and everyone on LG is kind of laughing about it. But at the same time, Weekend's like, damn, I really want to play Arachne.
But here's the thing with Arachne, as the Thoth is going to get banned out, good choice, because Hurriwind on that is kind of scary, is that Arachne is a good character, but just like Nemesis, sure, but she's annoying. And win or lose, just getting gnawed at and slowed the entire game is annoying. And I feel like there are gods that I'd rather play against that might be better than Arachne, but less annoying. And I think that's where CLG's mind is.
I think that's a very fair statement to make. Surprised that CLG doesn't go for the Giannis. I mean, as you mentioned, thought a scary pick for Hurriwind, but Giannis is the pick for Hurry a lot of the time. We've seen Splice be totally fine just first picking Giannis over and over and over and over again. Not only are you giving that up, but the Uller pick, that's been Clout's best god so far this year by a mile. I mean, it hasn't even been close. He's looked like one of the best ADCs in the world when given this Uller. So I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, I get it. Camazotz is good. I just don't know that he's first pick worthy.
There's also a little bit of predictability in this LG draft. I feel like every time we take the field, I'm going to see an Athena. NotGeno has performed on this on this character a little bit fresher to the league, so the god pool, whether it's small or just unknown, we see the Athena over and over again. Teams got to take note. I don't know if you ban or first pick that character, which is kind of nice for LG, but they get it every time, and it's worked out well for them.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I don't think you can really hold it against him yet, because if you're not being taken off of that pick, why show anything else? It's been successful. LG's in 3rd place. May as well keep it going, right? You don't need to change it up until they force you to. So I'm totally fine with Athena being a constant selection.
And I mean, if he has this really strong god pool outside of Athena and just baits other teams into banning Athena, awesome.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's one of the benefits of being a rookie. Unknown stuff coming out. Second round of bans after Cirquette is selected for LG, likely going to go in the hands of Weekend. There's the Giannis ban. We won't see that mid lane portal guy anytime soon. The Morgan also banned out by CLG. And LG says no to Geb.
Geb, a strong ban here just because it does so well up against that Cirquette. So often you feel like, all right, I got the kill. They're dead with last breath, and then a Geb shield will save their life and just stops a lot of what you want to do.
Yeah.
But LG, if you asked a man, Uller, Athena, Cirquette are probably the 3 gods they'd blind pick at this point.
Yeah.
So they've gotten their draft in a nice spot so far.
Final ban from Counterlogic Gaming will be the Poseidon. An interesting ban if you haven't been catching up with Luminosity.
Then Kiggs has played it, and that's the thing is it feels like CLG is like, all right, what do we ban? I don't know. What has Kiggs played? Morgan, yeah, he's played that. Can anyone remember what he played like week 1? Oh, yeah, he played Poseidon. We may as well just ban that away. Is Poseidon the best against his composition? No, I actually think it's really bad against the composition from CLG because Camazotz and .G both have ultimates that just eject them straight up out of Kraken. But that's just, again, that rookie factor. You don't know what else he plays, so we'll just ban what you know he does.
Problem is, NotGeno, true rookie, coming out from some of the less competitive leagues, et cetera, et cetera. KikiSoCheeky, however, a veteran in his own right across the world on the sticks. The console world was dominated by this mid laner, and looks like he's going to be taking Uller into the mid lane if I get my money right here. KikiSoCheeky played that. You played against him. I mean, talk about him playing the Uller.
I mean, he was my hunter for a while on my team, and just a beast with the hunters. I really always felt like he was a better hunter than he was a mid laner anyways. Now he's looking like a really, really good mid laner, so I may have been wrong at least at this point. But him picking up a hunter, like you said, that's his role from before. That's where he just won a world championship on console. You know he's comfortable on these gods.
Drafts are in. Let's take a look at game 1. Counterlogic Gaming and Luminosity. It's Hondu on the horn.
Yeah, that's me. I'm Hondu, joined by Toli. I was going to try to make a joke, and I'm like, nah. No reason to. Who do you guys think at home are going to win game 1 is a real question. CLG versus LG. First time these two teams meet, and they will meet again next week as well.
That's true. This is the ending of the first half of the SPL Spring Split. Both of these teams get a chance at redemption here because of our new format, going away from the 2-game sets, going into best of 3 double round robin.
Yes, the big thing is that the first 3 weeks of the Pro League, you'll see all the teams play for the first time. Second week, you see rematches of the first 3 weeks to see if anyone's changed their tune based off the performances so far.
We'll see also, with some of the changes to the patch notes to see how these teams make the adaptations halfway through, which is also very important considering, going from Season 4 to Season 5 definitely stirred up a lot of commotion here. United winning it all, starting off, 0-3 before winning that last set, now going 1-4.
Well, let's see if they can find another win later on today. But first of all, let's see how CLG do up against Luminosity. Luminosity, one of the teams that a lot of people expected to struggle at the start of the year. And to be fair, they've done better than a lot of people expected, Totally.
That's very true. You know, first week they beat out United. Who would have thought that? The world defending champions losing to LG.
Then again, when you look at United, you're like, well, everyone beat them then. So, well, pretty much everyone.
True. And then afterwards, they lost to Space Station, but then they beat out Splice. So they're sitting pretty at 2-1.
Yep, I will say I think CLGaming is the most dangerous looking team in North America right now. In terms of performances so far, things have looked pretty good for this squad. And it's a squad that's been around for a while before and played together a lot. But fineokay could be in a bit of trouble here.
Could be in a world of hurt here. He got his first ability. He's going to get slowed out by that Athena dash. 4 people here from LG.
And keegsmate gets that first blood. That's going to help quite a bit, Totally, because getting that extra bonus gold at the start of the game on an all mid laner, finish that transcendence quicker, and then start stacking him, putting the pressure on.
And just like that, the poll results are from the previous set. Not this set.
I was like, what are you talking about? Previous set. Oh, yeah, that was Splice. But I'm pretty sure that means CLGaming. I'll get a check with production. There we go. Quick update is CLG 57%, LG 43. A lot closer than I would have expected if it wasn't for the performances Luminosity have had so far.
Now, if you made that poll after the first blood, probably would be a different story there. keegsmate, you know, really feeling himself here, avoiding a blessing to start things off, going for the tier 2 transcendence instead.
Yeah, great little stuff. But that's not a real surprise, is it, Totally? I mean, we've seen a lot of these ults doing this at the beginning of the game. They really want that Transcendence online. The cooldown reduction on its own is solid enough.
It's pretty good. You're also getting 20 physical power with the tier 2 as opposed to the 10 that you would get. So that means your abilities are hitting a little harder as opposed to the Hunter's Mark, which do give you extra basic attack damage, and then the 15% attack speed once you evolve that item might still be able to pick it up after finishing Transcendence.
It was a very physical, heavy composition from Luminosity this game. Obviously, with having the Ul and the Jingwei and the Circuit, they're all the focused damage dealers. Yes, Kiki on the Cerberus. Cerberus can put out a lot of damage, Totally, but at the end of the day, it's still a Guardian after all, and you don't have that nuke potential from a mage.
I mean, you say that,
but
and then
there's
there's a paralyzing spit coming out of. If you hit all 4 of those projectiles, the scaling of that is about 180%. Now, you're not building a lot of magical power on Cerberus, sure, but all you need is Void Stone, and then you're fine.
Geno took a lot of free poke in that lane early on there as they were just pressuring up, but they do have presence in that lane, allowing Weaken to look and steal away back Harpies. Something that we've seen a lot more at the junglers is they're quite happy to go and just rotate around the jungle looking for either people to pick or free camps to pick up.
And because of how defensive CLG currently is, they can't even secure their own backs. It's LG controlling the whole pacing of the game. Look at this rotation from the dodgy. Homiefe is going to rotate to the backlash. He wastes his time realizing it's not there, needs to go back middle, but now Hurriwind is basically clearing the wave.
Yeah, most of the wave's already gone, and that's kind of what you expect, but Homie going to jump in, eat an axe to the face straight away, and then slice away, trying to get to safety with that extra mobility. But look at how aggressive Keegs is being.
This is kind of like the way he used to play in the console scene, wanting to box against whoever was in his face. He definitely prematurely threw that axe out before Dodgy got off the swipes, but I think this was him kind of show some dominance in the lane just to get off the damage.
And you mentioned that about Keegs too. He used to play in the console scene in the professional circuits there. Played Hunter in that position, so seeing him on Ul does not surprise a lot of people at home.
That's right. He's able to hit those shots, and it's very difficult to hit abilities on a console controller as opposed to the mouse and keyboard. So, you know, kind of like taking off the weighted training clothing of Dragon Ball Z and kind of showing what he's really all about. His real power is here.
His extra power levels are definitely there. But one thing to mention is having the guts, the bravado, this confidence in his own ability to be able to play as aggressive as he has been on console now on the PC side against some of these names that, you know, he's probably looked up to for a few years, and now he's up against them.
I mean, he's also been playing against these folks behind the scenes in ranked and in scrims or pickup games. A lot of these players in opposite teams will group up in Discord, and they'll always be practicing against each other. Those games get a little bit trolly, but either way, that's how you get your name out there, and that's how keegsmate got identified very early.
Well, Hurriwind still working on that Warlock Sash, takes a trip back to base early on, gets a Mortar Potion and a couple of wards, so nice early wards placed down. down before he hits level 5. Keegs level 5 going to head back to base. That should be a fully stacked Transcendence now, or at least Transcendence online.
Yep.
At the start of this, and he'll also pick himself up a ward.
Just because he got that first blood, even getting the tier 1 of the boots to follow suit. Feeling very confident about that one. fineokay trying to outpush KikiSoCheeky. That's why he's at the tower line. He wants to make a rotation somewhere after he gets these. Maybe look for some back harpy shenanigans.
I feel this is the right sort of position as Cerberus wants to be in the laning phase, though, totally. Just chilling just under his tower edge, able to farm the creeps, not being poked out for free, and even if he is, he'll be able to re-sustain up a little bit anyway.
And fineokay can never realistically use his Devour jump against Cerberus. If he does that,
he's healing him.
Then he's going to be able to, Stygian Torment. Kiki is going to pull fineokay under his own tower line unless he uses the Bat Out of Hell, but you never really want to use that unless you're going to confirm a kill as a Camazotz.
That's fair, and already on the cooldown, but maybe confirm a kill here could be the situation. Swoop! There it is! fineokay gets a solo kill on Kiki.
fineokay backed from base with a fully finished warrior tabby. 40 physical power was the difference, as Kiki only had the tier 1 breastplate with 20 physical protection. It wasn't really enough to survive that burst damage from fineokay.
That's a really good call, Tony. A lot of people don't realize that. Like, even casual players, make sure you check when people come back from base what they built, because if you don't think about it, they're doing more damage than you did last time round if they've been back to base more than likely, and fineokay did just that. But hold that thought, because in comes Weaken. fineokay's ultimate on cooldown, and after the dash, a nice little cleanup kill. Geno will get credit for the kill, but I love the idea from LG.
There was just a great opportunity. Without the Bat Out of Hell, that was a guaranteed kill. But more importantly, now fineokay's teleport is not available, so he's going to be missing this whole entire wave.
And not just the wave, it's also the extra damage that goes to the tower for free. Because those minions will only... They're like Terminators now. They're like C-Tower,
That's true.
must kill tower.
That's very true. Once this wave comes into fruition, they're not going to switch their prioritization whatsoever. So slowly chipping it away, about maybe 10, 20% health. It's not that much at the end of the day, but that will eventually stack up to the point where minions can take it out themselves.
Definitely. 1,000 gold lead so far in this game for Luminosity. That comes down to the first blood and that gank attempt on the right-hand side that was fruitful for the time being.
That whole disparity is straight up from the mid laners. 4,500 from Ullr, 35 from Discordia. Not a good look if you're Hurriwind.
Is that because Hurriwind's been forced back to base more, and also because he's had Homiefe trying to have it to soak some experience?
He's getting bullied out a little bit. The matchup doesn't favor Hurriwind.
Oh, no.
But then you also got Homiefe trying to make rotations elsewhere, whereas Weaken is not too shy about showing his presence in the mid lane. It's a very aggressive 2v2 between this jungle mid combination. Sarkhet Ullr is difficult to really fight into.
Yeah, very tricky one. We'll see how this works out, though, as time goes on, because one thing that Ul does lack is CC immunity. And that can really cause some issues against someone like a Dargy.
That's right.
With those powwows, and not just that, Jigz' hammers.
That's very true. But the question is, can someone else besides Dodgy force the beads to allow Homiefe to guarantee the pull after that fades away? If you're relying on Dodgy to do that, then Ul's just going to jump away, use the beads, or vice versa, use the beads, then jump away, and then he'll be safe. A-okay. Can anyone do it first before him, though?
Geno working his build very quickly. He did get credit for that kill, so he's a little bit further ahead and able to rotate back to base a little bit more. He's working towards that Gauntlet of Thebes that'll be online relatively soon after the boot's completion.
Looking at Jigz' build, he still hasn't really backed after finishing off those Talaria shoes, sitting on probably a little bit of gold in hand. Probably wants to finish off his own Thebes.
Yeah, I thought Weaken might make an attempt on fineokay here, but instead he's just going to take down that blue buff, make sure Kiki can secure his own, especially because Kiki will be continued to be pressured in this lane with how it's going.
And a Cerberus, or any Guardian realistically, let alone Cerberus, does not have a favorable matchup against a Warrior or a Guardian in the early stages. They will struggle to start it off. That's why Weaken is sitting here trying to bait fineokay.
But the bad news is fineokay knows he was there. There was a ward behind him around the blue buff area that gave vision of Weaken just hanging around. Instead, Weaken soaks some experience through the wall, gives up the goose on that right-hand side, realizing that fineokay was just going to play that very, very safe.
But despite Weaken wasting all that time in the solo lane, LG are still doing a good job controlling the map, bullying out Jigz, forcing him to defensively jump into his own red buff, really showing that they still can make the plays happen despite not having their jungler, where in Season 5, it's usually the jungler that makes the plays happen first.
What a time to be alive, though. If it's an all player in the mid lane, you get a fully stacked Transcendence and full boots online before the 9-minute mark. It's
pretty good.
A great situation to be in, Tolly.
Luminosity are feeling really good about that one. They're just always in a good spot to look for more plays. That's why the Ullr pick was so heavily prioritized. KikiSoCheeky was first pick for CLG. Immediately to respond was the Ullr Athena combination. That's something that Geno actually really heavily prefers.
Talking a little bit about Hunters some more. I mean, Clout's playing this Jingwei. Jingwei started to rise back, totally back into play once again. Is this because we're seeing less Thorns and Nemean Lions now, that we're starting to see some Hunters that, you know, want that crit?
It's very possible. You don't always have to pop that steroid to, you know, get that 15% critical strike, but it definitely helps when there's a lot of frontliners right next to you. Clout's pick was last pick. It was a very safe Hunter pick, and hold that thought though, because Jigz is taking a lot of damage.
He'll be okay. I mean, he still has his ultimate just in case he was in too much danger there.
So going back to the discussion of Hunters, Clout goes for a safe last pick Hunter because playing Hachiman, it's one of the most aggressive Hunters to fight 1v1. You do not want to fight a Hachiman. The range of his ability to extend from 55 to 85 allows him to get guaranteed poke off.
And you just saw him get away from the danger there, and in comes Homiefe looking to punish them for their indiscretions of attacking their carry. But with CC immunity and a quick beads later, actually wasn't beads in the airstrike from Clout, they will get away. Cost them 2 ultimates for 1.
That's true, and they also popped a defensive sprint. Geno going to use that one as Jigz goes into the draconic form, getting off that AoE coerce.
Look at the burst. KikiSmate going to get jumped on by Jigz, and there's the apple of discord that's going to connect too. Kik's under a lot of pressure, but he will make it a 1-for-1 as he brings down the dragon and forces the reset.
Very important reset there. It was only him around the corner, so relying on your mid-mage and trading him out 1-for-1, you couldn't really ask for a better situation.
Coming round to the right-hand side, looking towards fineokay. Kiss, stun, pushed back, jumps in place again, some sustain.
Goodbye.
But when you've got anti-heal on you ain't gonna sustain nowhere, my friend. Even if you did have a Cerberus next year too.
I like the idea that fineokay had with his build going for that runic shield, but that's the difficult situation as a physical hunter dealing with a cross-breed of damage between magical soul lane or physical jungle. Going for one means you're going to be lacking in the other.
And that was always the thing of the early days of the seasons of Smite, is working out what you were against in lane, because you'll see only them, and then the jungler too. So if you get physical, kind of makes it a little bit easier. Magical, physical, struggle.
And that's why Mystical Male at one point, you know, having a different type of element here. If you're physical and then it does magical damage, and that's another aspect that you have to work around.
Well, not many mystical males just lately, unless you're watching Polar Bear Mike trolling support on Amaterasu.
What are you talking about?
First item.
It wasn't trolling.
First item. That was troll.
Nah.
I don't know how you can do that when you're 0-3. That's all I'm saying. 0-3 and you're in a decided match and you go mystical male first item. Come on.
That's the confidence that they have. That's a swagger from Me United. World defending champion.
Mike's got swagger. I don't know if they were like...
BBM's got so much swag.
Go on, finish that. I mean,
that's
after winning Worlds.
it.
BBM's got so much swag.
Yeah, so much swag.
It just means loot. That's what swag means.
Yeah, he's got so much swag. He
Okay.
won Worlds.
He did. He did. He just gets to hold that crown. We'll see if he gets to hold it again and repeat something to what Energy did. Or if we'll get a new champion this year. But it's too early to be talking about world champions anyway. Still in the first split of the year. Plenty of lands to go to see how performances go there. Is fineokay. Actually down a level here, but in the mid lane we got some pressure on Weaken.
KikiSmate jumping away. Weaken is landed by Geno right around the corner. Not
Got
wanting
him.
to engage though, despite all that follow-up damage from Hurriwind.
That-
If Homiefe stayed there, that might have been a kill.
Weaken had beads and chose not to use his beads. That's the most surprising thing there. Like, he had faith that CLGaming, like, all right, cool, he's going to beads, we can't follow this up.
So he wasn't going to take too much damage from, because Defender of Olympus was right around the corner. Geno was going to land, and with an Athena right in front of your face, you're going to disrupt all the swipes from Dodgy, so that's why the disengage happened from Homiefe. Weaken read the situation as a jungler mentality. Like, if I was Dodgy, would I still follow up here? No, Athena would disrupt me, so I'm going to back off.
It was very brave, is what I want to say more than anything else. As Kiki will resustain off these minions. That leap does make little ghostly clones that if you kill, you will get some extra health back.
It's not too shabby considering that he also gets more sustain from just his passive.
Yeah.
Just being next to the KikiSoCheeky, all that healing that he's doing to himself is not only going to get mitigated, but a little bit of that is going to be shared with the Cerberus. So his sustain is sort of matched in line.
Oh, Keeks in trouble in the mid lane, gets hit by the apple, trying to get away, but pop goes the weasel, or the mate in this case, and another kill for CLGaming.
Unfortunately, he used the Aegis too early. The second portion of the Golden Apple of Discord, I believe, does more damage than the first one. You want to use it for that portion and not the beginning.
Weekend still trying to get away from Homiefe, who's giving a very deep chase down to this right-hand side. Blue buff is available, but with Geno being around, they've got to be careful. 3v3, Jigz with the hammer onto Kiki. Kiki going to eat a lot more poke than he wants. And that's an investment from Homie, but he gets pulled in. Where's the follow-up damage is the question. Nowhere, as Homiefe now goes in the palo. Weekend is hiding around that corner, hugging the wall, but Hurriwind spots him.
He spots him, but there's no additional follow-up. He misses the Strife as Weekend ambushes and deathbanes away. Snoopy has made his presence in the mid lane, but so has Clout.
And now he's going to force the beads on Snoopy, and Snoopy trying to get away as fast as he can. Still has his Aegis available, going to be able to hold on to it. The dashing from Geno still going, but the Pyromancer is going to go to CLGaming, and Snoopy survives.
I'm shocked that Clout did not use his ultimate there, but a beautiful disengage from Homiefe, teleporting to Hurriwind, barely in the nick of time.
Great little win for CLGaming there. They managed to get into the jungle, take the Pyromancer, and their one man left alone who was focused in the mid lane, Snoopy, survived.
I can't believe still that Clout didn't use his airstrike to confirm that kill under the tier 1 mid tower. I know, ooh, LG just sneaking the Gold Fury though in the meantime, the better objective.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I was going to say, Tolly. I mean, yeah, you get a Pyromancer, but you give up the Gold Fury? Bit surprised that everybody like kind of backed off, didn't think about the Gold Fury still being available on the map. And in the end, they do get punished for that, so it does come out, I guess, in LG's favor. Nice jump, I should say.
fineokay barely having enough mana there. Kiki misreading the amount of mana. Clout's going to have to disengage. Snoopy and Jigz are favoring in that exchange. Snoopy really feeling himself despite being one level behind. Both of these hunters going for a very identical build, rushing the Devo Gloves into Ninja Tabby and Ikavile, an item that, you know, was really busted at one point in time, having to receive some nerfs, now back into the limelight with a little bit of buffs.
I think actually most of the thing with Ikavile, because I'm pretty sure it's almost back to factory settings for it. If anything, Tolly, I think it's just the meta's changed so much that it's not as impactful. The hunters aren't going off at the minute 12, you know? Like
that's very true.
It's helping them transition to that late game stage where they feel like they can do a little bit more in the early game.
That's very true. It's a great item to have early on. Clout.
He was thinking about it.
Yeah, I saw him purchase the Shoryuken and then sell it instantly. He's like, no, now is not the time. He noticed that fineokay does have thorns. He can easily still purchase that Hide of Enemy line whenever he wants to. And he has to worry about Jigz picking up that Hide or the Merguardian mail, which is going to lower that attack speed.
Speaking of Clout, I will say him and Geno, they're actually looking a lot better than I expected them to for a new team put together in terms of a dual lane composition. These two are looking kind of dangerous as a 2v2 match for quite a few oppositions.
They're holding their own, I would say, to be fair, but they're two individually talented players put together that they're like, all right, let's see if this works. And so far, it's working.
I mean, I've seen some more synergy out of them than I expected, is what I'm trying to say. I wasn't sure they'd be this good, this quick. Geno in mid, going to just throw out the reach more than anything else, not the taunt there. Got to make sure, and expecting Hurriwind to dash away as he did.
No follow-up, though, despite forcing out that dash too far away. fineokay going to get stunned out, taking more damage than he definitely wants to. There's trading, and then there's a thing called being reckless, and fineokay definitely being a little too reckless.
Do you reckon? I mean, he's a level ahead, even though he's been killed 3 times by being this aggressive.
So
but
there's no vision on the right side for CLG to even spot out Weekend, but because he was identified on the left side, that gives some wiggle room for fineokay to make those plays. But sitting at level 15 and 16, you're better off looking for plays elsewhere. Clear the wave, rotate. Clear the wave, proxy, rotate.
All right, we'll see if fineokay goes. So he's just going to place a ward down for the time being. Nothing to really steal in the jungle unless he goes too deep for those harpies. But you do that, and you've already got Weekend waiting round the corner. Both purple buffs on LG right now, showing that they've got great lane dominance on this left-hand side against CLG right now, keeping them in a good little position.
It was because of Weekend's early rotation. Couldn't necessarily find a kill there. Didn't really force any defensive relics upon his presence, but that's a small marginal win, just shredding some of these protections.
In goes Weaken, going aggressive, but Homiefe will jump on him and bleed him back to safety. Geno with a great taunt to keep him alive, though, takes a lot of pressure too. But Kiki's in the mix now. Everybody's starting to group up in mid.
Look at all that damage onto Homiefe. Geno barely avoiding that one. Stunned out is Snoopy from keegsmate. Strife little bit off the mark. Does hit keegsmate, but no one else to apply the madness effect.
Yeah, mainly the tanks of Luminosity are the ones that took the brunt of the damage there, and mainly it was the carries of CLG that got hurt, and that's why you can see the positional advantage for LG across the map. The bad news is for LG, there's nothing for them to take on the map to even like force a situation.
I mean, Gold Fury's not coming up for 1 minute and 5 seconds, but that tier 1 mid tower is looking mighty tasty, and if LG really wanted to force the situation, they could have easily grouped up here, used their long range abilities to set each other up and continue the pressure.
Both of the solo lanes picked up thorns this game as well. You can see the crit coming out from Clout now after finishing the chins. I think Snoopy might be heading the same sort of route. Do you expect chins here or execution?
Chins is not a bad idea for either. It's better for Clout because Hurriwind has Warlock Staff, whereas keegsmate not going for a health build, going for a pure damage style. So I wouldn't be surprised if Snoopy goes for Executioner, actually.
Okay, we'll see what happens with that, because obviously you've got to get through those tanks as well. Tanks are generally what you're going to hit as a hunter most of the time, because they're the things that are going to be in your face. Whereas the carries in the backline, yeah, it's nice to try and build for them, but you're not going to get as often as you want to be able to kill them.
It's very true, and with Breastplate of Valor, that's a lot of physical defense for Kiki.
A little bit of an awkward position there. That axe was amazing! He's going to force the beads out, though, and now Keegs is in trouble if he gets hit by that. He does. Come back here, Keegs! The apple was waiting, and it's going to spread. Jigz gets the kill. Weaken's running away. In goes Jigz with a big leap on the dragon. Snoopy wants to keep chasing, but Kiki denies the chase opportunity.
It's a one-pick opportunity for CLG to get themselves a Gold Fury. Last time it was Luminosity sneaking that one away, but with the Draconic form for Jigz and the banner, that's a lot of attack speed.
Very, very quickly, but Geno's here, Clout's here, and Kiki. Clout has his ultimate, the airstrike, something very good for trying to steal. Will he go for it is the question. Gold Fury's actually reset. Kiki invested on the right-hand side as fineokay boxes out Clout. Kiki on the run, and he will go down as Homiefe leaps onto him with the teleportation. Forced out on the left-hand side is Clout. CLG back to the goal.
And Weaken was at the right side that whole entire time. The call was different between himself and his teammates there. Sacrificing a little bit too much there was Kiki, almost losing Clout in the process as CLG confirmed themselves a Gold Fury at the 21-minute mark.
But they're still behind in gold. LG ever so slightly ahead. It's about 100, if anything. Experience. Tied game, totally. That's where we're at this stage, and this is showing kind of what North America is like this year. Any team can take on any team. I would say CLG coming into this year, we're looking near the top, and that's exactly where they are. LG expected to be nearer the bottom. They are, but it's still so tight.
It's looking very close. And honestly, CLG have been looking so strong this split. Beating Splice in the first week 2-1, defeating Trifecta 2-1, taking out Space Station Gaming 2-0 was a nice touch for them.
Arguably as well, when you look back at Counterlogic Gaming's history of this team, these players, they were together last year, totally. Most of them were all together last year. And they were the ones that had the best performances from North America against Europe.
That's true.
If you remember all the way back to that. Like, think about it that way. No real surprise to see that they are still up there. They're still a team to be scared of.
Showing to be really solid in Season 5, but in this game, it's basically been a hard reset. This next team fight is going to be the deciding factor of who's going to get the Fire Giant, where these respawn timers are going to increase dramatically. And that last team fight, keegsmate used his beats a little early, couldn't get away from the powwow, and with that in mind, a lot of hunters have been experimenting with getting Mad Guy's Cloak to survive. That wouldn't be a bad idea for Keegs here.
That's fair, but I think that kind of dropped off all of a sudden, didn't it? It was like 1 week we were doing it, the next week, no, let's not do that anymore.
Some Europeans are still doing it here, specifically Vote and Ataraxia.
Yeah, but Vote gets Blink.
It's so weird. He gets Blink at level 1.
But then gets Mad Guy's Cloak. Like, what? Jigz going to jump in, and Jigz' build here. Jigz is one of those support players that doesn't get enough credit for the build choices that he chooses, because he is one of those players that is creative, is inventive. He's going for something slightly different here. Nothing unusual, I'll say, but this Midgardian mail after the Thieves into the Sovereignty. Lack of magical protection
Sure.
from this, but do you really need to worry that much?
He already has enough, honestly,
With
with
the
Gauntlet of
Thieves.
Thieves, because at this stage of the game, there's not that much magical damage from Luminosity's comp. It's Kiki playing Cerberus and Geno playing the Athena. You have keegsmate playing Uller mid, which is a fantastic pick, but lacking in the magical damage might hurt Luminosity in the later portion. Because of this, Jigz doesn't need Hardware Amulet. He goes for the Guardian Mail to limit some of the DPS from this double 100 comp.
Keep it out weekend too. This build coming through from him. I love looking at the builds because Season 5 is all about what's in, what's out in terms of builds. Malice, Heartseeker, then Deathbringer. So plenty of crit online for weekend. Guess that's one of the reasons fineokay has invested in that Thorns.
It's very important to try to, mitigate a lot of that damage by reflecting it back at whoever's dishing it, whether you're going to be the Xing Wei with a crit, getting Wind Demon, or Weaken with the double crit items. Now, granted, obviously he doesn't want to hit fineokay, and that's not going to be his intent. He's going to blink in that backline and target out the squishies, Hurriwind and Snoopy to be specific.
Yeah, Hurriwind's definitely a focal target, but Hurriwind has a few good escapes to his name if he requires it. 24 minutes in, Gold Eye still completely even. Relics still all completed now as you look at it. Upgraded Shell and Sprint for Jigz, though, already at this stage.
Just 1,000 gold to get such a huge benefit. The gas pedal effect from the Sprint allows the allies to chase down opposition, whereas the Sprint upgraded receives that extra 2 basic attack absorption. Now,
The Shell, yeah.
Yeah, the Shell, sorry. And that's the same idea when an Athena dashes, she gets those absorb charge stacks on herself. But now with the Shell upgraded, everyone gets it for CLG.
I don't know the interaction, Tully. You might, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but with Sir Kett, if she all-ins you with the poisons and then she goes to the auto and it gets blocked,
Absorbed.
it doesn't count.
Does it consume the poison stacks?
Yeah.
You mean that? I'm not sure.
That's what I'm thinking. So maybe the damage, I guess the first auto was going to get absorbed at least, so the damage boost is not going to be there.
If I were to I
want to say it was absorbed.
I would be.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think the poison stacks would be consumed there. Now you're not dealing damage, but you're still basic attacking, which connects and makes an interaction. Something worth testing.
Definitely. Even as casters, there's always something to learn.
There's always so little small things to consider. Because keep in mind, there's 94 gods currently in the game.
Yes.
There's how many relics? Like I don't know, 12 relics, something like that. There's like 90 items as well, or so, between tier 1s and tier 2s as well.
Then there's all the different buffs on the map. Then there's all the different interactions of each of the gods. And in we go with Homiefe looking for Weaken. Weaken forced out immediately as the back came through just in time, I believe, there from Clout, who was just basing, and Weaken caused enough of a distraction to keep them busy. But Gold Fury, for the 3rd time this game is started up. CLGaming on this one once again after getting the last one, but LG in a much healthier position.
They don't have to contest this, but they could look for a pick if somebody's going to be overextended. Jigz takes a lot of damage.
Weaken's going all in on Hurriwind, but he gets exploded! He eats an apple to the face, and Snoopy just fires some basics to his back. fineokay zoning the way the rest of the team as Kiki comes in. Athena joining suit, looking to chase down on Hurriwind, who's one hit, and the one hit is good. Powwow used by Homie, going to pull Geno into an awkward spot. The follow-up damage not really there, though, however, from CLGaming. Now LG are the ones that end up coming out okay in that too.
Good disengage from CLG, allowing LG to strike first. Now, Jigz took a lot of damage to start things off, but then it was just Weaken putting himself in a bad situation. Now, he got bursted because of his build. It was purely offensive.
Kiki's trying to get back to this fight with the teleport as quick as his legs can carry him. He did just upgrade it as well to get to the backline. Goes straight towards Snoopy to force the reset, but fineokay gets a kill against 3 on the other side of the fight. Still going to be able to survive and get away. And now Geno's in trouble. The Snoopy's autos were all on target.
Oh, he did not want to commit with the rest of his teammates there. Yes, Geno was very enticing to commit to, but got to keep in mind there's a lot of damage coming out of keegsmate.
And Keegs will get the kill. Snoopy falls down. Homie, though, answers that one back. Great hammer from Jigz to get rid of the damage onto Homiefe, allowing him to get away. Really interesting engagements.
Just back and forth all across the board. First
Weaken
falls. Oh no! The
Lazy
knockup
backs.
as well. He connects from a distance. Kiki, so cheeky.
That wasn't cheeky. That was just like obvious. Like they were lazy back. He's like, well, I'm just going to leap over this wall, boys. And yeah, I'm going to kill.
He just jumped over the fence. The dog, man. You got to beware of the dog.
Yeah, especially around fences and stuff. You saw the mailman.
That's
what
right.
it was.
You saw the sign on the front. Beware of servers.
Okay, under pressure because Weekends respawn. But as soon as Weekend respawns, the apple came out again. And that apple with the cripple, with also the disruption that it causes, has allowed fineokay to maybe get away, but the dog wants the bone.
He wants it again, but he's not going to find it. Could be in a lot of trouble. He's surrounded by 3 members. Defender of Olympus, giving him that damage mitigation that he so desperately needed.
And he'll get away, as will Geno. Meanwhile, LG on the goal Fury, and they're going to take it too. Totally, we got a game 1 here. This is back and forth.
It's an absolute slobber knocker here in the second set of the 3rd week of the 5th season of the first split of the season 5 SPL. I said that twice.
Okay, I was like,
I tried to do that bar impression.
It was close, yeah. It was close. I mean, we should introducing on the bottom half of your map, the left-hand side of the spectrum of the UI, Counter-Logic Gaming.
And in the red corner, right side of your screen, in the UI, Luminosity.
That's the bar.
Yeah, I remember that.
Pretty close. However, LG, after managing to, well, actually, they stole the Gold Fury. They got the Gold Fury for themselves. They'll also get the Portal Demon. So, well, Pyromancer. I'll get it right one day this year.
It's okay, Hindu.
I do miss the Portal Demon, though. I think it was more interactive than the Pyromancer is.
fineokay gets taunted and gets knocked up as well. Forces the shell. Out goes keegsmate, but
Jigz
in
still
goes
going.
Jigz.
You just get the hammer off onto Clout, but Clout doesn't panic. No follow-up from CLG was really there. Keep an eye on Weekend. Once again, always looking to flank around and find those carries. This time round, trickier situation to be in. LG fall back to take their own jungle.
Still no defensive items from Weekend, so every time he goes into the backline, looks for a last breath, he's going to be a sitting duck from at least one ability. There are some immunity frames that Circuit has, but there's a small window to apply some damage, and Hurriwind's going to be looking for that apple every time.
We'll see what happens with that, because those apples have been on point from Hurriwind so far. He's done well in terms of the player damage, creeping up there to the solo laners, but my oh my, look at fineokay's 25,700.
It's quite a bit of damage, you know, coming from a Kamazots. I wouldn't necessarily...
Kamazots.
Yeah, and I would not call that fake damage whatsoever. He's been making these rotations and penetrating that back line.
Meanwhile, the jungler's kind of worse for wear this game, kind of having a bit of a trouble. For someone that sets the pace so well, Tolly, the damage numbers don't speak to that.
It's more about the late game damage of how they isolate that one individual member and get them out of a team fight. The presence from Weekend in the solo lane was a little bit of a wasted time. He did find 1 kill successfully.
Oh, he's going straight in. Homie went all the way in for Keegs. Powwow time is online, but can he find the Powwow? Pulls, not to be. Jigz went to the Dragon Form looking for secure, but wasn't going to find it. Now it's Weekend's turn.
Goes in, he applies the Corvus Kiss onto 1, knock up onto Hurriwind. There's no beads. He uses the Aegis to try to survive. Jigz very low in the backline, needs to disengage. Snoopy goes in, but Weekend on the backside throws Jigz into the fire.
fineokay, though, will get a kill answered, and fineokay still going, looking to take out Clout. Managed to get 1 on his own, clean up keegsmate, and they both, the damage dealers of LG, are not in this fight.
Oh, Snoopy dashes in, applies the stun. Great use of mechanics from Snoopy, finding 1. It's a 2-for-1 at the end of the day. Snoopy forces to use both of his defensive relics, and CLG are in position to get some towers.
Yeah, maybe the tier 1 tower, but instead, CLG a little bit too worried about that. They're going to head back to base. fineokay has some farm on the right-hand side to go to. fineokay's doing a very good job, though, of getting to Keegs and getting to Clout and taking them out of this engagement.
And that's without Blink on Kamazots. He's just able to kind of jump in there with Devour or just necessarily use that bat out of hell. A lot of mobility with that ultimate. Having so much physical defense here against this double hunter composition. Mystical Mail, Hide of Nemean Lion, you got Merguardian Mail. It's so easy to build around double physical hunters.
And then on top of that, Thorns, just in case.
Why not?
You hit him with an axe, still Thorns.
Now, the thing is, Merguardian Mail is slightly counterintuitive of Thorns because you're lowering their attack speed, so they're not going to be able to deal that much damage to you anyway. But normally, whenever you see Thorns, they're just stopping to attack you anyway, so it buys him time to reposition himself.
Well, the way I kind of look at how the Thorns would work here is that you'd save it for when the Ul Axe connects, right?
Fair.
Because then he's going to use all his abilities and dump his load. So you hit Thorns the moment he hits an axe.
Yep.
Turns it around.
Yep, there's going to be a lot of mind games between that interaction, depending on how frequently keegsmate is used to Thorns being popped after the axe in late game situations. But yes, that would have been a lot of return damage, probably around 500 or so, just from those two abilities.
Well, you talk about late game, that's exactly where we are now, 32.5 minutes in the game. No Fire Giants just yet. Plenty of Gold Furies and Pyromancers that have been flying around. But these two teams are still pretty much neck and neck. No real advantage for either as it stands. Builds are all pretty much complete. Just a couple of relics that need upgrading.
That's all it's going to be about. It's a late game situation, 33 minutes in, where the next team fight matters the most. These teams are not hesitant whatsoever about going for the plays. Both junglers with Blink wants to catch somebody slipping. Homiefe goes so deep under that tier 1 mid tower, but unfortunately missing so many of those powwows, could not really find the right opportunity. So there was some counteraction from LG, but they only picked off one at the end of the day.
Gold Fury started by LG very quickly here. They're going to bring that down before anyone can turn up, I believe. Tier 1 tower in the mid is on its last legs for LG, which isn't the greatest spot to try and defend from, so they've got to be careful. But as soon as they hear that Gold Fury go down, CLG try and commit to the fire to try and turn this around. Bad news is, though, is LG's on the way.
There's 3 people here. Clout is flying from the base. Here comes Geno's ultimate onto Kiki as Weekend has to disengage. Fire Giant is pulled, but it's only at 75%. CLG are still disengaging.
But they're looking at Geno, and Geno's in a lot of trouble here. Leapt in by fineokay. Paolo from Homiefe giving a bird's eye view of the situation and pulls Geno back into danger. However, great little ult from Kiki will slow the aggression down, getting Geno out. But Weekend,
he spreads it to Clout. The golden apple spreads to Clout. He dashed away and you couldn't get away.
Meanwhile, in the back line, Homiefe going in on Keegs and will find him. Kiki now left on his own and isolated. He's going to run. The doggo is in trouble. The doggo is dead.
2-3 for nothing. CLG looking so strong in this late game. They're finding the necessary picks, and this composition from LG, high risk, high reward. Their power spike is at its all-time high at the 20 to 25 window, but they couldn't build a high enough gold lead or experience lead to just run away with it.
Real awkward situation now. CLG will get this Fire Giant. Nobody around from LG to try and contest. Love the call from 2 of the players from CLG. Homiefe came back from base and fineokay was just stoning away Geno. They'll take a tier 1 tower and already be starting the tier 2 while the rest of their team took the fire.
It's just going to be an easy pickings. They're going to pluck away all these towers one by one by one. Homiefe still has the aggro, resetting it to fineokay.
Weekend was trying to make a play on mid. He was kind of hanging around there waiting for the opportunity. Instead, ate all his health. Luckily, he gets away before Homiefe can get one more auto. Geno turns up, gets a taunt off on Jigz, but that's a tank versus a tank, and Clout can only put so much damage in to the dwarf.
Tier 2 mid has collapsed here. 13 kills to only 8 from Luminosity, approaching the 36-minute mark. Left-hand side, that tier 2 tower actually almost fell to minions as fineokay had to teleport just to be able to defend that one.
Yeah, just make sure they don't get any free gold. You don't want to get a chance to get more wards more than anything else.
That's true, but honestly, it's not even about the gold here. Everyone's at 6 items from both teams. You're looking at 88,000 collectively from CLG, 85 on the side of Luminosity, and a 3,000 gold lead at 36 minutes. It's really not doing you much spread 5 ways.
Well, maybe it's just tight health then.
A little bit, yes. It's now putting LG in a position of not having to rotate to the left lane. If that tower was removed, they could have used all their attention on the opposite lanes.
Well, they're going to probably pay attention to the left-hand side, as you always know and love to see, because it's the furthest Phoenix away from the Fire Giant, which means you've got to defend the longest distance at the same time as try and defend one of the most important objectives outside of the Titan.
And I like that CLG are committing to this, recognizing how low their own tier 2 tower is. Don't want any backdoor shenanigans happening under their own tier 2 structure. Will strike first in this side of the lane. Still having Fire Giant for another 2 minutes. CLG are in position to get their first Phoenix of the game.
Maybe they just charge in, because at the moment, Keegs and Weekend are both in the mid lane. Homiefe recognizes that commitment onto Kiki. Gonna leap back to safety, however. No overextension from CLG there. Just a nice bit of poke.
CLG are positioning themselves on the left side wall, furthest away from that little wall area where there could be so many abilities thrown over, making it more difficult for Weekend to jump over.
Hurriwind in action. attacks, but he beats immediately to get away from the danger. Clout has to Aegis away from the damage that came through, but Snoopy dived in deep with his ultimate to pick up the kill. We'll also get a Phoenix here on top, and Homiefe is now powered out.
They just allowed Snoopy to use that mounted archery in the backline. Clout didn't even use his purification beads or the airstrike.
Hits 2, round the back comes Keegs, looking for the axe on Hurriwind, finds it. Hurriwind under a lot of pressure here.
Weekend.
Already used the apple, but Weekend will fall down to fineokay.
Great play from fineokay, diving the backline. Titan is going to get pulled here, and Luminosity not looking good here in the first game against CLG.
Well, not looking good for the win, but I will say they're looking good for how it's been played, totally. It was a back-and-forth endeavor. LG had moments in that right from the start. They got the first blood. They're not looking as bad as many people may have seen.
I definitely agree with you. I think both teams still played remarkably well. I just think it ultimately came down to the team composition. This double physical hunter here is a very aggressive middle hunter in keegsmate playing the Uller, and then a very passive physical hunter from Clout playing the Jingwei.
Yeah, that's a very interesting one. Big quick thing for you guys at home, though. Who do you think MVP was? What about you, Tolly?
It's hard to say, honestly. Everyone played really well. Hurriwind played really well because he shut down Weekend a lot of times that he aggressed. fineokay made a lot of plays by going into the back line. Snoopy basically all in Clout. He weakened him with the long-range ability, so then he just YOLO'd in with a mounted archery.
Let's head over to the desk then to break down game 1. It's Tom and Aggro.
Thanks a lot, boys. A fantastic set right there. Fantastic game right there. I mean, this one was LG's for the majority of the game.
It was really, really close. It was very back and forth. It was early Gold Furies that answered back by the other side, and it just really felt like it was balancing on that razor's edge. But for me, Tom, it really broke open whenever Weekend delivers the golden apple to Clout. Clout is staying safe, a little bit separate from the rest of the team, but still doing well. And then Weekend delivers half of his health bar to him. And it also chases out Clout's Aegis so that he doesn't take too much damage. And then they clean up Clout. CLG gets to go towards the Fire Giant. They find an extra pick, go back towards Fire Giant, finally finish it off. And that was it. And that's just one of those situations that is unfortunate. You know what I mean? Like, is Weekend truly at fault and through the game? No. It's just one of those situations that happens. It just sucks that it happens like that, where you think that you're safe, you think you're escaping, but you're really just delivering death to your hunter.
Not the apple you want to give to Clout this time around. Unfortunately, LG find the loss and CLG step forward. But I think the more important point to take home, other than the W's and the L's, are how strong LG were able to dance with this Counter-Logic Gaming team. We sat here at the desk, and CLG is expected to kind of be the team, and LG not so much. And this was sort of the moment that I expected reality to set in. I expected, all right, LG, calm down. You did it. You're good. But against CLG? That's what we got.
LG's for real.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any question about that.
Really fun stuff here. Who else is for real? One individual. fineokay, solo laner, MVP here for CLG. 4, 3, and 5. More importantly, 34,000 player damage. This guy, I have been high on this guy since he entered the league. He was a rookie last year. Impressed the hell out of me. Was snubbed when other teams needed a choice there for the position, and he wasn't picked up. I was befuddled, confused, astounded, angry. Here he is playing for one of the premier teams, and I'm very happy.
This dude's a beast. There's no way around it. He can play anything in that solo lane, and he can play it well. And that's one of those situations where, you know, is Camazotz your typical solo laner? In some ways, yes, whenever he's built tanky, but in other ways, you really have to play it as is semi-assassin-like, and Fine did that really, really well. He was just in the right spots, and even though you don't bring a lot of CC on the Camazotz out of the solo lane, you just become that nuisance. It is so hard to get away from you, as we've seen in these clips, where he just swats you down, basically, with the swoops.
One thing that I love about fineokay is that he's got excellent field vision. He knows the targets he's got to be on, and that's what makes him really effective, specifically on these offensive characters, is that he's not out there, oh, I got to deal with the tank, I'm not up on the front line. He knows the characters to aggress on.
He's just in the right spots at the right time, and that's something that we say about a lot of players, but for solo laners in particular, it's very, very critical to make sure that you can peel when necessary, when to dive when necessary. I know you've been praising Divios for that same ability, and fineokay displays it as well.
As we